Hello everyone, and welcome to another webinar in the Access and Lifelong Learning Summer Series. My name is Michelle Tracy and I'm the Student Support Officer here in Access and Lifelong Learning. And today, along with my colleagues Enya and Áine Murphy, who are the Outreach Officers, we're going to talk to you a little bit about the pathways into UCD and the supports that are available to you as a student when you come into the college itself. Before we begin, I'd like to ask everybody if you could turn off your videos and your mics for the duration of the webinar. And if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like to query during the session, you can use the chat function that's at the bottom of your screen. Everything that we talk about today is going to be on our website and along with our contact details. So if anything crops up at the end of the session, or if there's anything you'd like to ask us when this is over, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Along with our colleagues today from Access and Lifelong Learning, we have a student panel who are also going to talk to you about the pathways that they use to come into the college and the supports that they found most useful to them in their learning. So without further ado, I'm going to pass you over to Enya and Áine, who are going to talk to you now about the different pathways into UCD.
Enya, sorry, I'm trying to share my screen, but I can't. Maybe you can share yours.
Yeah, I will, of course. Sorry now. I'll put you on. You should be able to do it now, Áine.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. So hi, everybody. Enya and I work as outreach officers in UCD Access and Lifelong Learning, and we're going to present some information about different ways of getting into UCD today. So UCD is a university for all. So our role in UCD Access and Lifelong Learning is to support staff and students in UCD and prospective students of UCD so that the university looks like the world around us, that it's made up of people from all different backgrounds, of all different ages, and to make sure that everyone is welcome. So there are lots of people who go straight from school to university, but we want to let you know that there are lots of other ways in. So there are 7 other ways in. So it's to come through the higher education access route. The acronym HERE is what we use for that, or the Disability Access Route to Education, DARE. Further education coming into UCD after you've done study in a further education college as a mature student, through our university access program, through open learning and lifelong learning. So the higher education access route is for students who are, or for school leavers who are under the age of 23, who are from a low income background and are resident in the Republic of Ireland. The benefit is that it offers reduced point CAO offers to students. So say a student wanted to study science in UCD and the CAO cutoff offer was 520 points, that if a student was eligible for HERE and they had maybe 420 points, they could still get an offer for that course. And then we offer supports for students once they come in, and Michelle will talk about that a little bit later. So we have reserved places in all of our undergraduate degree programs that are held for students who are eligible for HERE. After eligible students come in, there's a HERE welcome program so that you meet other students who have come in through different routes to UCD. There's one-to-one meetings with staff and Access and Lifelong Learning, social gatherings with our current students, and some financial assistance as well. So how students apply, or how prospective students apply for HERE, is through the CAO in the year that they're planning to study in university. So if you're planning to study in September 2021, you have to apply to the CAO by the 1st of February 2021. And the application form asks for information to assess your eligibility, and we call those indicators. So it asks for information about your family's income, whether or not you or your family have a medical card, if your parents maybe have a means tested social, or in receipt of a means tested social welfare payment. We ask the job that they do, whether the name of the school that you go to, because maybe it's a DESH school, and the area that you live in, to find out whether there are lots of people in your area who have gone on to higher education, and some other information as well. So in late June then, people are told whether or not they're eligible for HERE, and provided then you meet the course requirements. So say you have to have, say, maths at higher level, grade 6. You still have to meet those course requirements. But when you get your offer, it'll be on the CAO offers day, and you won't it won't look any different. So you might just notice that the CAO cutoff points are a bit higher than the offer that you have, or you might have the points that you need for the course, but you'll still get all the supports that come along with being a HEAR student. So I'll pass over to Enya for DARE information now.
Thanks, Anya. So DARE has lots of similarities to HEAR. It's the disability access route. So it's an admissions route for school leavers whose disabilities have had a negative impact on their second level education. Thank you. So similar, yet again, it offers reduced points places into a courses. It has post-entry supports, which Michelle will talk about. It's for school leavers under the age of 23 who are resident in the Republic of Ireland. Thank you. So DARE in UCD, as Áine mentioned, it's the reduced points offer. So it's the exact same that Áine mentioned with regards to the HEAR. If the science place was 520 and you had 420 points, you might meet the DARE requirement cutoff point if you're eligible at that point. So it's the same system. It's just for different, just has different criteria. There's quota of places held for all the pathways as well. So there are places held for DARE students. As soon as you receive your offer, as soon as you receive your CAO offer, it will invite you to the All Welcome program. The Welcome program typically takes place just before the main UCD orientation, and it gives you a chance to meet the team from Access and Lifelong Learning, find out what services and supports will be available to you throughout your degree, and gives you a chance to meet other first-year students who have come in through similar pathways. So it's a way to get you settled on UCD. As soon as you are settled in, after a few weeks, you'll be invited to do a needs assessment appointment with the disability team. And in this needs assessment appointment, they'll figure out which accommodations are most suited to you. So it might be that you have some assistive technology, so they might give you a technical pen that records your lectures for you, or that you're given extra time in your exams. Everybody has different needs and different requirements, so that's why the needs assessment appointment is so important. We also have academic skills workshops, which run throughout the year and we'll be invited to. They tend to happen as well alongside the requirements of your academic year. So when you may be expected to do a group presentation, we might have a workshop on giving presentations. Closer to the exams, we'll have a workshop on avoiding procrastination, which I tend to dip my hand into. And then as well, there's social gatherings throughout the year. We'll invite you to those, and it's mainly just to make sure that you're feeling happy and confident in UCD and that you've made friends. Okie dokie. Yet again, DARE is very similar to HEAR with regard to the application. It's all done through your CAO. So by the 1st of February, you have to have ticked that you wish to be assessed for DARE eligibility. You'll have then a few weeks to submit your support and documentation. So your medical consultant or your provider will submit an evidence of disability to say which disability you have. And your school and support teachers will fill out the educational impact statement. The impact statement will provide information with regards to maybe the type of supports you've had in school and also the impact your disability has had on your study. So it might be that you've missed a significant number of days due to your condition. In late June, you'll be expected to receive your eligibility. And then yet again, as Áine mentioned, the offers will come out in August. The offer will look exactly the same as the regular offer. It's all the exact same bells and whistles. With regards to HEAR and DARE, we tend to get the main question that we usually get is what were the points and how many places there were. UCD Registry have done a lovely website and they update it every year. So on this website, you can figure out which course you're most interested in, have a scroll around and a look around. You'll see the target places. So that's the places that they expect to have, the places that were there in 2019, and then the lowest offer as well from 2017 to 19. So all the information is there. The points may not be the exact same coming into this year, but it just gives you a nice guideline of what to expect. What if you're eligible for HEAR and DARE? This is good news because places are prioritised for students with HEAR and DARE eligibility. So we'll figure that out through your CAO assessment. And then I can only recommend that you have a look on the Access College website. There's a host of information for HEAR and DARE students with regards to the indicators for the HEAR pathway and then the supplementary requirements for the DARE pathway. So I would really point in the direction of that. Thank you.
So then for students who are applying or who attend a further education college and gain qualification there, they can also apply through the CAO for a place, and we have reserved places for people who come in with that further education qualification. So there are reserved places on 24 of our undergraduate degree programs, and again UCD Registry has all of the information on the number of places that are reserved and the requirements that are needed. So we can see, just as an example, that there are 30 places reserved for further education for students with a further education qualification coming into science, and the requirements that they have to have. So that would be a distinction in a minimum of 5 modules, and the modules are listed. So if you were thinking about studying at a further education college first, that you might just check that the module codes match what's on offer at the college that you're attending. And yeah, and that's it. So you have to have specific modules, and you have to have distinctions in at least 5 modules, and you apply to the CAO again, and the offers come out a little bit sooner than they would for Leaving Cert students. I think Enya, you're on mute there. And he's going to present information about the Access course.
Thanks a million. So the next one we're going to look at now is University Access courses. So University Access courses are a 1-year part-time course, and it's designed to prepare mature students who may not have any formal qualifications to study successfully in university. So if you think about it, it's kind of a preparation year where you come into UCD, you learn study skills and writing skills, and it prepares you to take on a degree. There's 2 types of Access courses that you can undertake depending on your own interest. So one is Arts, Humanities, Social Sciences and Law stream. And then the second is Science, Engineering, Agriculture and Medicine. You'll know yourself which one you want. University Access courses are open to anybody who's over at the age of 22. As I mentioned, there's no formal entry requirements. You may have an interview just before you undertake the course. It's a year to test the water and to build skills and confidence. So typically people just want to learn how to navigate the way around UCD and its campus, and to figure out how to do the referencing before they undertake a degree. So it's just to put a bit of confidence in your pocket. And then they can use your access qualification at the end of the year to progress onto a degree which will be in line with the stream that you studied. The applications for Access courses are done directly to UCD, and all the information is available on our website, www.ucd.ie/ALL. The fees range from €850 to €1,800, but we do have scholarships in place also. The scholarship may reduce the fee or eliminate it completely. The best woman to talk to about University Access courses is Thomond Coogan. She's the coordinator for both streams. You can email Thomond on thomond.coogan@ucd.ie, but there's a host of information on the website, so I'd point you in that direction too. Thank you.
So then we also have mature student entry for people who are over the age of 23. So you have to be 23 by the 1st of January in the year that you'd like to enter. We have a quota of places, again, reserved for mature students. Prospective students would apply through the CAO, and mature students might be asked for additional information like personal statements or their CV or any qualifications that they might have done before. And then some courses will require an extra entry requirement. So it could be the HPAT for medicine, which is the Health Professionals Admissions Test, or the MSAP. So it's the Mature Student Admissions Pathway Test that would it would test your skills and abilities that would be considered necessary to succeed at 3rd level education. And then the course requirements, again, for mature students are all listed on the UCD Registry website. So you can see here that there's the courses, and again, architecture as an example, and the requirements that you'd need as a mature student. So whether you need to do the tests or if you need to have personal statements and things like that as well.
And then we have open learning. So open learning is open to anybody over the age of 17 years old. And what open learning does is that it opens up the university. So it allows you to study alongside a full-time degree student. There are 300 modules to choose from in open learning, and basically you go in and you study an undergraduate module. The way to study open learning is through audit or credit. So if you wanted to do it through audit, it'll be just for the pleasure. So maybe you want to hear from an expert in that field. There's no requirement to take any assessment or any exams. So you're just dipping in just purely for the pleasure. And then for credit, people may decide to do open learning to gain credit. For instance, one module would be used in place of the MSAP exam. So as Áine just mentioned, the mature student application. People also use credit to do for CPD requirements. There's an option then to do 6 modules, which will allow you access the pathway. Open learning is a flexible way to study, so it's part-time, and it will, similar to the Access course, it kind of gets you up and running on the campus to make sure you're happy and confident to go onto the degree. For those who do not want to progress onto the degree after the 6 modules, you can still continue to take modules. So if you build it up to 12 modules, you'll be awarded a diploma in open learning. So really, it's another way to dip in and out. With the 6 modules, those who are interested in doing the 6 modules as a pathway to the degree, tend to do the 6 within 1 academic year. So you might do 3 in the autumn trimester and then 3 in the spring trimester, and then move on to a degree either in arts, humanities, social sciences, social policy and sociology, law, science, and computer science. So it's just another way to progress onto the degree using just this qualification. How do you apply to open learning? Yet again, it's directly through UCD. There are fees depending on which type of way you want to assess it. For audit, it's €350, and for credit, it's €500. As an open learner, you have full access to all of the facilities and services within UCD. And there's also a scholarship available for those who wish to study the 6 modules to use it as a progression pathway. Yet again, information on how to apply and the scholarships are available on our website. Thank you.
And lastly is lifelong learning. So this is a broad range of specific interest courses that are available to anybody to explore subjects without exams. So it could be things like history or art appreciation or languages, really broad range of topics that if you just want to listen to an expert in their field without the pressure of exams and just to enjoy the learning, and then lifelong learning would be for you. Some of the lectures would take place in campus or on the UCD campus or possibly online now, but some would also be in some other places like the National Library of Ireland or the Lexicon in Dunleary or the Hugh Lane Gallery. So there's a couple of places that you can study a lifelong learning course with UCD. All of the information for that again is on our website, so ucd.ie/AL.
Thanks very much, Áine and Enya. That's an awful lot of information. So as Áine and Enya said, that if you have any questions or you need further information, all these details are on our website, along with our contact details. You were given a couple of names there, such as Thomond and Catherine. Their contact details are on the website as well. So please don't hesitate to get in touch with us with any query that you have, and we'll get back to you as quickly as possible. So just a brief recap, we have 7 pathways into the university, but the one thing that all the students have in common when they come in is that every student is going to require support. The change and the jump from coming, whether you're coming directly from school or whether you've had a break in your education and you're returning to learning, coming into a higher education environment can be quite daunting and challenging. Every single one of us that has come through those gates has felt exactly the same way. We're all thinking about the new environment, you know, how are we going to navigate this? How are we going to learn what we're supposed to have to do? The university has thought about that, and they've put lots of supports in place for the students to avail of. Some of the supports are very typical, and you would expect to find them in this environment, such as academic supports. In Access and Lifelong Learning, we run workshops, as Enya mentioned, and these workshops run once a week. They're usually in the same time frame as your academic requirements, if you like, in your lectures. So if you're learning about referencing for your first essay, we're doing referencing in the workshops. If you're doing citation, we're doing citation. If you're preparing for a presentation, the workshop is also preparing for a presentation. All of these workshops are held in a very informal, small group setting where it's absolutely encouraged to ask any questions and bring any queries that you have to them. In addition to the workshops, UCD has a writing support centre, and it is what it says on the tin. You bring any draft text that you have with you, and the people in the Writing Support Centre will give you feedback on your work so far. It's a very, very friendly environment in which to get positive feedback on the work that you have done, and they'll help guide you and support you to preparing a better end product. For those of you that are doing anything related to maths, there's a maths support centre on campus as well, and that's based in the library too. So you can simply pop along to the Writing Centre or the Maths Support Centre and meet somebody there that can help you, or during busy periods, you can make an appointment to meet with somebody there. In addition to those, during the academic year, it's very important that you take a break from your studies, that you get an opportunity to meet friends, and that it's not just all head in the books. So we provide a range of social activities. These can range from very simple coffee mornings to pizza evenings, and we also do film evenings. So when we get back onto campus, we'll do them in person, if you like, but we will have virtual activities as well for students, just in case we have to continue with the online learning. Coming to college can be very expensive. There are a lot of costs that students know about, and then there are a lot of hidden costs. So in preparation for this, there are also financial supports that you can avail of. There is a fund called the Student Support Fund that we will notify you about if you're eligible for it at the beginning of the year. And there are scholarship opportunities that you can avail of as well. In Access and Lifelong Learning, we run an open door policy where one of the major supports that we offer is a one-to-one meeting with all incoming students. During these meetings, we'll work with you to identify the supports that are most relevant to your learning and your learning style. At these meetings, we'll also work on a budget to help you identify costs that are going to come up during the year and to make sure that you have the funding in place for those costs. In addition to these funds, there is also disability support at the university, which is available to students who've come through the DARE pathway and also to students who have not come through DARE. Every session that you have with the disability service will be preceded by a needs assessment meeting, and at those meetings, you will meet with a member of the team who will work with you to again figure out the supports that best support you in your time at UCD. The most important thing to remember is that Access and Lifelong Learning is a centre that is there. It's placed in the centre of the university, and the staff and the facilities that are there are designed to help you and support you to be the most successful student that you possibly can be, and that you can have an overall positive student experience. The best people to talk about this is probably not the staff, but the students themselves. So I'm going to hand you over now to Larissa Mirth, who is a law and philosophy student about to go into her third year. And Larissa is going to introduce you to a panel of students who will talk to you a little bit about the pathway that they took into UCD and the supports that they have best identified to help them in their learning and their time in UCD. Again, just to remind you that everything we have spoken about is on our website. All our contact details are there as well. So while we're giving you a lot of information and it's going to take time to process it, please don't hesitate to contact us if you think of anything after this session. So I'll hand you over to Larissa now. Hi, Larissa, are you ready?
Hi, yes, all good. Thank you for the introduction, Michelle, and it's lovely to be here. And yeah, my name is Larissa, and I will be going into my third year of law and philosophy, and I'll be the moderator for today. I think the first thing that I would like to ask is if the panelists could introduce themselves and tell us about the program they are studying and the pathway that they used and how they applied for that. We'll start with Favor.
Hi everybody, my name is Favor. I'm going into final year of genetics. I got into UCD through CAO and I got in through the HEAR scheme. So I did my leaving cert in like 2017. And I'd actually never heard of the HEAR scheme before, but I was lucky because my school were involved in something known as the Future You program, which is a community program run by the Access Center, where they connect with secondary schools in like low income areas, and you have like mentors from UCD that come in and talk to you and give you advice and help you out. So because of that, I was able to know a lot about the HERE scheme, and I applied for it, and luckily I got it. Even though I missed my points for the course that I wanted, I was still able to get into my course because I was eligible for HERE scheme.
Hi, I'm Garrett. I came in through a QQI level 5 PLC. I initially was actually looking at doing the open learning entry route, which is you do your credits over a year and then you can gain access into your course if you do it as the credit way. I decided that for me personally, QQI was the better option, so I graduated with all distinctions and I moved into commerce, and I'm currently heading into my final year.
Hey guys, my name's Owen. I'm currently going into my third year of astrophysics and UCD, and much like Faber, I figured out or I found out about DARE through the Future U program that the Access Centre put on, and it was a really easy process to apply for on the CAO website. It's just a digital form and everything's laid out quite nicely, and the only physical thing you need to do is send in your supporting documentation, and everything else is through the actual CAO website, which you log in with your student number. And that's essentially then how I got into UCD, was through the DARE entry route.
Hi guys, my name is Richie. I am a mature student going into my third year of English and History. My case is a little bit different from most mature students because I was actually in UCD before, about 10 years ago, and 10 years ago I dropped out because I decided the college just wasn't for me at the time. So worked for 10 years and then decided that I really wanted to come back and finish my degree. So yeah, that was that. I applied through. I sent an email to Catherine Tormey in the centre asking whether I was still eligible, because I wasn't sure if I would have been. So she dispelled all my fears quite quickly, and I applied. Of course, you have to go through the MSAP route, which is the Mature Student Access Pathway. It's a sort of, it's not really an exam, it's an aptitude test, which consists of just a brief sort of exercise to determine whether you can write an essay or a vague outline of an essay, and also just reasoning in whatever field that you've chosen. It's actually it's not as bad as it sounds. So that's how I came in to be in UCD.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, and if we could get the next panelist to share with us as well.
Hey, Hayley.
Hayley?
I didn't know you could see me. Can you see me now?
You can, Hayley.
Hi, I am a mature student and I came in through the Access route, so I've just finished my first year. I was doing a creative writing course in Blackrock Further Education, and a few of the people there had been to UCD and spoke really highly of it. And the teacher recommended that I do an English degree. So I went onto the UCD website and the Access and Lifelong Learning, where I read up about the different entry routes in, and I filled out the form online for the Access course, and then I went to an interview and I was given a place, and then that's how I came in.
That's brilliant. Thank you all so much. And I think we'll go onto our questions now. And the first one is just about the pathway that you came into UCD. If you could share a bit more about that. And I will ask Favor to start with this again.
So I came in through the year scheme. So I applied for that in 6th year, and like Owen said, it's a really like simple process. Like you kind of like get like some certain documents in order, but when you're applying for your CAO, you applied for that you applied for it here through the CEO also, and then like you get a letter a couple months like after you apply, and when when you get your CAO offer, and then when you get into college, then that's how everything went. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. Gareth, if you'd like to continue.
So mine, I came through the PLC, so that entailed, like they were saying earlier, you have to find a correct course code from the PLC to make sure it matches up with the degree you want to do. I done it in Whitehall College of Further Education, and once the degree code matches up, it doesn't matter too much. You have to hit the minimum of 5 distinctions, and you'll normally sit, I think it's 8 modules, but it's kind of like points, if that makes sense. So you have a maximum of 390 and the distinctions worth a certain amount. So although most of the time it may say 5 minimum, sometimes you do have to get like a bit more. Like I had to essentially achieve all distinctions, but it wasn't too difficult. And I found that a lot of it kind of was like a base for what I would have in first year in college. And that was it. It was quite simple enough, you know.
Brilliant, thank you. Richie, if you'd like to go ahead.
Okay, yeah, the mature student path is basically you fill out an application form. There are sort of requirements for mature students. The main one is that you have to be over 23. In order to be eligible for the free fees as well, ideally out of education for a full-time education for a period of 5 years. Then you fill out the application form. Once all of that is accepted by the university, you're invited to attend the aptitude test, the MSAP aptitude test. And then after that, you get a letter in the post, basically saying whether or not you've been successful. So that's the mature student way in.
Brilliant, thank you. Hayley?
So for the access route, I filled out my application form online. There's no requirements other than that you're over 23 years of age. And then I was called in for an interview at the beginning of the summer with Thomond, where you're just kind of asked to write a short piece, and then you speak one-on-one with Thomond, and then you're accepted in. Like, it was really simple. Like, it was pretty easy. And yeah, I was really worried about it actually when you're called in for the interview and you're asked that you're going to have to write something. But like, it was really, really nice. Like, Thomond like made me excited about being there, and like I left there knowing I had made the best decision by applying. Like, it was really, really good.
Thank you so much. Owen?
Oh, no, I'm muted. I came in through the DARE route, so like I said before, it's all done through the CAO. It's pretty easy. I think it's a subsection on the website. I can't remember exactly. And then it's just a digital form, so you just fill out name and just a bunch of other details. Then you have to supply supporting documentation. So that can be anything from a GP's letter outlining briefly outlining your condition, or something from a consultant, a previous letter, and then you just have to do like I think it's 1,000 word. I'm not quite sure of the word count, but just a small statement with it as well of why you were negatively impacted in school, and then it's all handled through the CAO. So once that's done, I think the deadline is like the 15th of March or something like that. The CAO then like handle it all once everything's once you sit your leaving cert, and the process for selection starts throughout the summer. And then I think you get an email in the middle of the summer informing you whether you got there or not.
Brilliant, thank you so much. And yeah, another one of the pathways, just to remind you, is the lifelong learning. And it's a great way because you just study things that you want to study. There's no exams, and it is held in locations all around Dublin. So it's really fun. Thank you so much for answering my questions. And the next one is, what supports have you received from the Access Centre? Because with the here and the there, there's a lot of focus on the Leaving Cert, but once you finish the Leaving Cert, there's also continuing support into college. So if you'd like to share what sort of support you received afterwards, that would be great. And we will start with Gareth this time.
Oh, okay. So through UCD and the Access, you're able to get so many sports. You're able to get like if you're, I can't remember the exact thing, but you're able to sit your exams in UCD rather than in the RDS, and you're given extra time. Other supports that I personally would use would be like the writing centre, the math support, because obviously taking so many years before I went back to college, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do maths, I don't know how I'm going to write an essay. So I found that they were very helpful. And I found some scholarships helpful because obviously the cost going back to college is, I found, was quite difficult. It was something I didn't actually necessarily plan for as much as I did. So I did find the scholarships like the Cochrane Mafania scholarship quite helpful. And they have like an on-campus doctor, an on-campus counselling, and if you're not able to be seen quickly by the counselling on campus, normally they will find you a counsellor out of the campus, but it still is at a reduced cost as compared to normal. And they're just some of the ones I received. I'm sure I have to leave some options open for everyone else to talk about.
Thank you so much. Richie, if you'd like to go.
Yeah, just to echo what Gareth was saying there, you know, the Student Support Fund can refund you up to €500 because, as we all know, college is a costly experience. And similarly, the scholarships, if you know, if you need them, you should definitely apply for them. You obviously need to apply for them in order to get them, but the All Centre can definitely help you with that. In terms of the supports that I would use, I would say that the academic writing centre is crucial because, you know, very few of us, if any of us, can actually write an academic essay from the beginning. You know, we're none of us perfect like that. So it helps to have an expert eye cast over your paper before you submit it. And the people that work in the centre are PhD students or, you know, actual academics. So they'll be able to tell you then and there if you're on the right track, how your essay is structured, if you're citing properly, and it's all done in a very friendly and non-judgmental way. So it's really, really crucial, and it's one that I use a lot. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Hayley, if you'd like to share.
Yeah, so like the writing centre and the scholarship would have been two things I would use. And actually when COVID-19 first hit, like I came into really bad technical difficulty, and within a week I was able to avail of the Student Support Fund, and they were able to give me money towards getting a laptop so I could continue doing the at distance, like online learning. And then like when you're doing the Access, like you have Toman, like Toman is non-stop, like you can pop into her whenever you need to, and like she would have had a meeting with me and kind of helped me to problem solve or kind of work through an issue. And then I was in touch with it all, so like that would have been the disability support, so I would have been offered like extra time in exams, or like Gareth said, like to sit an exam in UCD, or like an extension on an assignment if like something happened. And they were really understanding and they really want to support you. But outside of that, even the teachers and the lecturers themselves, like they are always responding to emails if you have a question. They have designated office hours, most of them, if you want to pop in. Like everyone in the college wants to support you, and there's so much there if you need it. Like there's so many different things, you know, and you don't feel like, oh no, I have a problem, because you know, like they genuinely want to help and they want to help you be an autonomous learner. So that's why the support is there, and like do avail of it, because you are made to feel like you're absolutely entitled to it because it's there to help you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Favor, if you'd have anything to add.
I'll definitely say, like, yeah, like Hayley said, like the people even in the Access Centre, like they are very supportive. If you have any questions, I remember in first year, Enya, that's on this panel as well, like she would meet with like each of us and talk to us about like budgeting and like settling into college. And then like even throughout the years, if I need to like email them about anything, if I have any inquiries, like they always go above and beyond to like find the answer. And if they don't have the answer, like they'll find somebody that does have the answer. And then aside from the Access Centre, for me, the Math Support Centre has been really, really great. like for me coming into science, like it was kind of shocking when I found out that I still had to do maths because I thought that I had left maths behind me. So they have been really, really helpful in that, because like maths was not my strong point at all. And yeah, like there's a lot of like support in like UCD. Like it's really great for that.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. And Owen?
Yeah, so when I came into UCD, I met with the Access team just to assess kind of what supports I might need during my academic life. And through the Access Centre, I availed of things such as assistive technology and the opportunity to meet with an OT to manage my fatigue and other things. Along with that, I use the Math Support Centre frequently, and just any issues or any things I have within my academic life, I can come to the Access Centre and just ask. And usually everyone's really good at finding some kind of solution to my problem, and I haven't found a problem that they haven't had a solution to as of yet. Larissa gone? We have her? Yeah.
Nope, I'm here. Thank you so much. So I think I'd like to ask just what would be your advice to make friends in college? And we will start with Ricky.
Yeah, so making friends in college can seem daunting at first, especially if you're coming in through one of these pathways. But really, the way to do it is to join societies, essentially. That's something that you get to do within the first few weeks. College societies, there's a lot of, especially among mature students, I find there's a tendency to think that college societies are for standard entry students and that they don't really apply to mature students or students coming in from other pathways. That's absolutely not true. This college experience is your college experience, so you have to make it your own. And you're absolutely entitled to join those societies. There's a society for everything in UCD. There's a food society, you know, there's LGBTQ, there's societies around interests, subjects that you're doing, French, German, etc. There's a great diversity of things to do out there, and the way to make friends is to jump in. I myself was the events officer this year for the UCD Social Democrats, and that was a huge thing for me to do. I'm not usually a person that really jumps in, but I found that I've really benefited from that experience because I've made so many great friends. So yeah, aside from that, you can also make friends, you know, simply just by being in classes. You might find that strange, but you know, it's possible for a mature student and a standard entry student, you know, an 18 or 19-year-old, to have a conversation in class, and you find that you're going to, you know, to coffees after the seminar is finished. You know, it happens very organically, but you know, just to dispel any sort of fears that incoming students might have, it's a really friendly environment in UCD, and yeah, you should just not be afraid to jump in.
Thank you so much. I think Ricky covered a lot of that, so thank you so much. I think we'll move on to the next question because it's quite topical given the situation that we were all in this year. So I would love to hear how you were able to do the transition to online learning, and if there's any advice you could offer on this, because it might be quite beneficial for incoming students. So Owen, if you'd like to go.
Yeah, so I found the transition to online I found it very difficult personally. From going from the academic environment to completely online required a whole lot more energy and motivation, I felt. My advice to anyone that's coming into college or transitioning to it for the first time would be maintain a schedule, keep on top of your lectures as they come in, as if you were actually in college. You can find yourself at the end of the week with only attending 2 of maybe your 10 odd lectures, and then you have 8 to catch up on for the next week, and it just piles up. And because it's online and because it's a video, it takes a lot longer to actually get through each lecture, because you're pausing the video, you're taking notes, you're trying to maybe understand something that can come out clearly on the actual recording, or if it's over Zoom or something like that as well, it also causes issues. So I found it a bit daunting at first attending lectures online, but you do get used to it, and it is just keeping kind of a schedule and keeping on top of it is very important, I feel anyways.
Brilliant, thank you so much. Hayley, if you'd like to offer your advice on this as well.
Yeah, I would definitely say to like have a routine in place. So like you're setting times to go in and do what you need to do online. And kind of remember everyone is in the same boat. So like everyone's learning how to do this. So don't put all that pressure on yourself to just kind of take it easy and kind of navigate your way online. Like the Access course offered you a module in how to do things online and how to manage it better. But I just found like keeping a routine and going in and just like telling myself like I will kind of get used to it and I'm just learning and not putting that pressure on myself. Like I found it easy then. Like after a while I was like, this is absolutely fine. I did miss the social aspect, but it was absolutely fine. And I'm a big worrier, so I'm like, and I was not good online. Like I couldn't even get into the Zoom video. Like there's things I find really difficult, but like after a while I was absolutely fine. So just kind of try and keep your mind easy about it, you know, and you will eventually figure it out and you will enjoy it, I think.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. And just one last question. What advice would you as leaders give to students that are thinking about coming into UCD? What advice would you have, Favor?
I think the advice that I would give is just try to like get as like much information as possible, like wherever, if there's like open days, if there's like stuff like this, like webinars, if there are people that you know, I think it's just really good to get as much information as possible, because I feel like that was something that I probably should have done like a lot more, even when it came to like my course. Like I remember on the first day, they were telling us like so many different things about like our course and the way things would go, and I was genuinely like shocked, because I'd never actually like read up on my course as much as I probably should have. So literally just like take every opportunity that you have to get information, just take it, because it's going to be really helpful along the line.
That's brilliant. Gareth, what advice would you have?
I think probably there's multiple things, but one of them would be to absolutely just enjoy it while you can. Like it's such a great experience going to college. It was something I never thought I would do. I always thought college isn't for me, and now that I'm here, I think it's one of the best things I've ever done. It's about kind of not being reserved, being open to change. So like just doing things that may not be in your comfort zone is probably one of the things I would say to do, because you can open up so many opportunities. And as well, lecturers are probably one of the most understanding people you'll meet. They're not these big, bad, scary people that they just give you a lecture and that's it. It's up to you to understand them. It's not like that at all. They're very understanding, like personal stuff happens, and they can extend deadlines and all this. And like, I had a lecturer leave, Brennan, and like she had this rule, like you get a 24-hour response. Within 24 hours, she would respond to you no matter what the time. Like you get emails from her back at like 4 a.m. Like the woman must have never slept, but like she was so understanding. You know, you could go up to her at the end of class and you could spend 10 minutes asking her a question, and she would go through it with you until you understood it. It wasn't, oh, I gave you a lecture, it's up to you to understand it in your own time. So it's not like secondary school where teachers will baby feed you. It is also, you do have to do the work yourself, but the lecturers are there to help you. If they know you're putting in the work, they will very easily help you to try understand it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing for people to remember that are coming into UCD, that it is filled with friendly faces, especially the Access office, and it's so important. If you need help, just go and ask. I think that's a very important part of it. And yeah, I think this is us done for now. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to the panelists for participating. That was great. And I will move on and pass the ball to Michelle now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Larissa, and thank you again to all the students. Your experience and your knowledge of the supports that are available and how you explain it gives much more information than we could ever possibly do from where we're sitting. So thank you very, very much, and thank you for being part of the panel as well. So we're about to wrap up this webinar now, and I'm going to leave you with just to let you know again that all the information and everything that we've spoken about is on our website along with our contact details. If you were a little too shy or a little too hesitant to enter any question into the chat function for this webinar, please don't hesitate to contact any one of us with a question that you may have arising out of this afterwards. So on behalf of Enya and Enya and everyone on Access and Lifelong Learning, and particularly a great big thanks to the student panel, we'd like to thank you for taking part in this today, and we hope to see you at another webinar very soon. So Enya or Enya, have you anything that you'd like to sign off with?
No, thanks for logging in, and hopefully we see you on campus too.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.